Alright, Dr. Wily, here I come. Or not. Chances are, if you've played a Mega Man game, then you've died once or twice. The series can be difficult for a newcomer to the point where you may even find yourself wanting to quit. It's nothing to be ashamed of. I still die sometimes, and I'm basically the gold standard for what it means to be a true gamer. In spite of all the frustrating deaths, you have to admit that a few of them can be kinda silly. Today we'll be taking a look at some of the funny ways to die in Mega Man. To start us off, we have one that may not seem like it would be much of an issue: getting killed by a literal puff of steam. Perhaps even more embarrassing is death by bouncing off a tire. Brightman Stage from Mega Man 4 has some pretty interesting and fun level design, but it's not as fun when the room is so dark that you fail to jump on a platform because you can't see it. It's even worse when the room is incredibly dark and you fail to jump on a platform that you can very clearly see. Or how about a platform just deciding to straight up run away from you? It may not be from Brightman Stage, or Mega Man 4 in general, but it is a pretty annoying thing that can happen. While we're on the topic of platforms, we may as well talk about the footholders from Mega Man's first adventure. As their name would suggest, you're supposed to stand on them like a platform, but occasionally they'll decide that they would rather be an enemy for some reason. I don't really understand why this is possible. Even if you successfully land on a footholder, you'll have to keep your eyes peeled for PPs, which by the way are the names of these flying penguins. They could have picked any species of bird to glide through the air and kill Mega Man, and they chose the one that was famously flightless. Gutsman Stage takes place on a construction site, where green platforms move back and forth. Occasionally while chugging along on their track, they'll tip over and drop Mega Man to his death at an insane speed. That's gotta be a painful landing. But I bet it beats listening to this insufferable noise. In my opinion, the Blue Bomber's newest journey to stop Dr. Wily has the most reasonable level design in the series. Very rarely does a death feel cheap, but it is still a Mega Man game that we're talking about here, so they had to put a few of those in there. The first couple of screens of Wily's Fortress have gears that either spin left or right. You have to jump from one gear to another in order to make progress. Eventually you'll reach a rusted gear. When you jump on it, it falls apart. Thanks for teaching me that lesson over an endless pit. And what do they have to follow up that lesson? One of the most chaotic screens in the game. Luckily, you can pretty much run and jump through it as quickly as possible and make it out unscathed. The rest of the fortress should be a cakewalk. Oh, I guess we had the same idea. Jumped on the same platform at the same time. That was cute. Fuseman Stage has an enemy named Pressed On. This robot's only attack is to fly above Mega Man and land on top of him. And apparently he can open up his stomach to punch you with a massive boxing glove. I had no idea that existed until now. The Blue Bomber has been smushed into scrap metal quite a few times throughout the series. Usually, some trash will drop from the ceiling of a level that has lots of industrial machinery. The Garbage and Junkman Stage is on a whole different playing field. This stuff practically spawns on top of you. There is no way you could possibly see it coming the first time you play the level. I guess you could always try destroying it, except that for whatever reason, it respawns immediately after being shot. You know what? It's not too big of an issue. The rest of the level is fair. One of the most annoying ways to die in a Mega Man game is to be knocked into an endless pit after an enemy randomly pops out of one. There was no indication that a fish was going to leap out of that murky water. Cloudman Stage has GoBots, which are much slower than the typical enemies that spring from endless pits. This makes them a lot easier to avoid, assuming you have any amount of common sense. Realistically, they shouldn't be a problem at all. That was an example of what not to do. But hey, at least Mega Man healed after he died. Another annoying Mega Man trope is the Yoku blocks. Obviously, I don't like how they can disappear at unexpected times and send you to your untimely demise, but what's even worse is that the ones in Heatman Stage have another ability. They can teleport you through walls. What's crazy is you don't even have to go glitch hunting to find this. I've had it happen to me while playing through the level normally. While we're on the topic of squares, there's something about getting chased down by a mob of them that's sort of funny. For as embarrassing as it is to get killed by a group of squares, it doesn't compare to the snowboarding accident of '96. It was a cold, snowy day in Frostman Stage. The annoying sound of a person's voice filled the air. You know you've created a fantastic gameplay mechanic when you need someone to audibly tell you when to jump and slide in order to survive. Regardless, Mega Man was doing a good job following the instructions, Until one time when he just sort of didn't. Trust me, it was a lot harder to control the snowboard than it looked. To make matters worse, someone thought it would be a good idea to put spikes on the course. All that is to say that the snowboarding controls in Mega Man 8 are laughably hard to use and make you look like a complete idiot when you fail to make a single jump. All this dying is really starting to get on my nerves. I think I just need to kick back and relax in a nice pool of petroleum. Or maybe I should go on a camping trip in the middle of a forest. Yeah, surely there wouldn't be any fire in a forest. Alright, that's it. This has gone too far. I've died so many times that I've run out of shame to feel. You can get killed by a tent. You know those moments when you're not sure whether to laugh or cry? This is one of those moments. The enemies must pay. I've been spending most of the video talking about Mega Man's deaths, but I think it's time we have a look at funny ways to kill enemies. And we'll start in the same place we left off. Torchman Stage. When you shoot the spiders, they drop adorable little babies. If you choose to spare them, then there's a good chance that they'll get roasted over a fire. I like to repeatedly hit the tank in Torchman Stage with small bullets. Sure, they bounce off the tank, but the enemy slowly gets pushed back until it falls to its doom. The best part is that there is no resistance from the tank, it just accepts its fate. And so does this guy. He patiently stands next to a small wall and waits for Mega Man to roll an ammonite on top of him. What a gentleman. Or woman. I'm not trying to assume the gender of a robot. Do you know what's even more pathetic than being killed by a tiny puff of steam? Being slaughtered by a soccer ball. And I'm not just talking about a ball that's been launched through the air. I'm talking about a ball that barely bounces off of you. Crashman Stage from Mega Man 2 has a segment where the blue bomber climbs up a long ladder. A bird flies by and drops an egg that cracks open as soon as it makes impact with an object. A ton of baby birds spill out of the broken egg and target Mega Man. If you climb up the ladder on the rightmost side of the screen, then you can make this happen. Okay, let's make that a little bit more sad. Just think about it. All of those babies are dead. It's really funny. It's kind of crazy to think. Just a week ago, I was worried that I wouldn't have anything to do after dropping out of therapy, but this has been a pretty fun pastime. Thanks for watching the video. If you'd like to see more of this kind of thing, then please let me know in the comments. If you'd like to see more Mega Man stuff, then you could watch the other video I made about it. Thanks again, and I will see you later.